Class of 2026, please welcome Sara Just, Columbia College, class of 1988.
Good morning. Thank you, Sara. Thank you, Dean Soret. Good morning, faculty, trustees, administrators, staff, parents, family, friends, and most importantly, to the class of 2026, you did it. Now, I do remember my class day speaker in 1988. It was the late actor George Segal, and the reason I bring him up is that I cannot remember a single thing he said that day. Not one. But what I do remember is that he played the banjo and sang and made us smile and just emanated joy. So, can someone please hand me my banjo? No, out of respect for you, I won't be doing that. But I am a proud graduate of this school, and I want to tell you that I know that the time you've spent here has prepared you well for what comes next. Maybe better than you realize. And while this is an exciting time, I know it can bring uncertainty too. The current job market, the overall economy, the ways changing technology may upend work or entire industries are all surely on your mind. But I'm here to assure you that you are well prepared. Not because you graduate from this prestigious institution, but because here you have learned how to learn. And today is not the end of your education. It is the beginning of the next phase of your education if you let it be. Whether you're going on to graduate school next, or if you're pretty sure you've taken your last exam or written your last paper, your learning goes on. And how well you embrace and lean into that learning is going to define so much of your life ahead. There's a scene in one of my favorite journalism movies, Broadcast News. Maybe you've seen it. The movie is set in a television newsroom, and the star reporter is wrapping up a story when he says to the camera, "In other words, I think we're all going to be okay." Then the scene cuts to the studio executive watching live on television, and he says, "Who the hell cares what you think?" It's one of my favorite lines about journalism, and a lesson I wish some in my industry would remember more. The truth is that as reporters, the story is not about us. It is not our job to opine. We report facts and analyze and explain truth. And the only way to do that well is by asking questions and continuously learning. That's what I love about journalism, and that is the most important skill your time here at Columbia has taught you. I'd argue that your future and our collective future depends on your ability to keep learning. And the fact that you made it here to this incredible milestone is proof that learning is something you do very, very well. There are 3 kinds of learning that I want to stress today, starting with learning about yourself. When I was a senior, sitting where you are, or earlier in the year, despite having been the editor-in-chief of Spectators, having done some pretty cool internships and earning a respectable, if not remarkable, GPA, job opportunities were not exactly falling into my lap. I applied to over 60 newspapers around the country, and then the rejection letters started to arrive at my Fernald Hall mailbox. That's a little box on the ground floor of your dorm where you collect mail. Mail is a folded piece of paper that sometimes, ask your parents. In an effort to drive confidence in the face of anxiety, I taped those rejection letters to my dorm room walls. It started as a joke, but by the time I hit 40 rejection letters, it wasn't that funny. The hardest part of that time was that so many of my friends seemed sure of what they were going to do next. I felt a little aimless by comparison. For a time, I started thinking, maybe I should go to graduate school like so many of my colleagues. I liked my history courses. Surely a graduate degree in history could carve the direct path to the future that I so badly wanted. So I went to meet with my advisor, Emeritus Professor Eric Foner, who I was very lucky to have. Eric Foner. And I still remember the advice he shared from his office in Fairweather that helped me reset my focus. He leaned back in his chair, professorially, of course, and said, and my memory may be a little faulty, but I believe these were his exact words, "Sara, you're not that good at history." And also, you don't seem to like it that much, but it's obvious you love working for Spectator, so I think you'd be better off chasing that dream. Fast forward another year, and I had what I thought would be my dream job. I was a beat reporter for a newspaper in New England, where I grew up, and it was what all those rejection letters taped on my fraternal dorm walls were leading up to, and yet I was miserable. The fact that this was supposed to be my dream job only made me feel more miserable. I missed the camaraderie of Spectator, of the shared sense of accomplishment. So when I got a call about an entry-level opportunity at ABC News, I leapt at the chance. At least it would get me back to New York, I thought. Because I'd always thought TV journalism wasn't for me. I was a print snob. But at least it will get me back to New York, and I'm very happy to say that I was wrong about television. On day one at ABC, working for Ted Koppel's Nightline, down the hall from the team producing Peter Jennings' World News Tonight, I knew I had found my place. I had found my people. I was a part, granted a very, very small part, of a team. I remembered that about myself. I'd always preferred team sports over individual sports. I thrived in the energy and rhythm of that newsroom, and I stayed. So learn about yourself. Don't cling to one dream when another presents itself. And if the thing you're good at isn't the thing you enjoy doing, trust yourself to find something new. The next kind of learning that's at the heart of my work, but that we all have a chance to do every single day, is learning about other people. On the PBS NewsHour, we often say we want our interviews to generate more light than heat. We work to understand and to inform. We try not to stage a food fight for ratings and clicks. It's a mission I love and always try to live up to. But honestly, there is something else that I know about myself that makes me love this work. Journalism gives you professional permission to be nosy. And I consider myself lucky to have found a socially acceptable way to be in other people's business, to meet new people and ask questions. And through my work, I've had a chance to meet a lot of fascinating people. Sometimes people ask me if I've met powerful and famous people in my work, and I have. Movie stars, artists, CEOs, Nobel Prize winners, members of Congress, and presidents. But the people I remember most are the ones we refer to in journalism as real people. I learned about love from a mother who told me about the first time her 8-year-old, mostly nonverbal child with autism said, "I love you," bringing the cameraman and me to tears and almost ruining the shot. I learned about bravery from a firefighter who rushed into the smoke and risked his life, and it turns out his ongoing health, on September 11th. And I learned about grace and acceptance from a woman who just days after the tragedy forgave the shooter who took her mother's life at Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston. Real people are fascinating, complicated, inspiring, frustrating. And just when you think you have them figured out, they surprise you. And here's a valuable lesson. Powerful and famous people are just real people too. Journalism offers an incredible window into human nature, but you don't need a professional excuse to learn from the people around you. You just need to be curious and ask questions. Assume everyone has a story to tell. The last kind of learning I want to discuss with you is also the most difficult, and that's learning to hold on to your values. It's no secret that we're living through difficult, divisive, even scary times. I don't need to tell you that your tenure at Columbia has at times been a microcosm of our broader national and global turbulence. On top of all that, there are pressures these days to ignore warning signs, dodge hard conversations, and normalize difficult truths. Lots of people in our country are facing such pressure and worse. Still, at PBS News, I've never felt more certain that we won't compromise our values. We lost federal funding of public media last year, as you may have heard. Thank you. But our values and our mission hasn't changed. That's because one of the greatest gifts of a life spent learning about yourself and the people around you is a set of values. My professional value is very simple: tell the truth. And if you draw that line very clearly and you underline it over and over every day, you won't cross it. It will be the sum of 1,000 tiny choices in high-pressured moments, and in the small, seemingly inconsequential ones too. There's an incredible feeling of calm that comes with knowing your values and what you will stand for and what you won't. I know I've spoken a lot today about the learning you still have to do in the future, but I want to be very clear about this class of 26. You are not too young to know what you stand for. You are not too young to have your own values. It will often be tempting to make something or someone else your guide and lose sight of your values as you strive for accomplishment, acceptance, even financial reward. There may be subtle calls to quiet your conscience or to march in step with someone else's lead. But when your values shine a bright neon light in your head, pay attention. You can act on those values every day. My friend, the late legendary Gwen Ifill, used to ask a beautiful question when she headed out the door on assignment on a story that spoke to her values. Who can I bring along with me? She would look around the newsroom and grab a new intern or a shy junior staffer for shoots and interviews. The most meaningful values are the ones we can actually practice every day, and you can too. Who can you encourage and make room for? One of the most common questions I get these days is whether I feel exhausted by the relentless pace of the news. I know a lot of us do feel exhausted by that, but the truth is the pace is what I love most about my work. In daily journalism, you do your best, and the next day you start all over again. You don't have time to linger on your missteps, and life is like that too. No matter your profession and path, each day you can start over and find something new to learn. You can find more understanding and joy, whether that's with your work, or with a banjo, or in time spent with people who matter most to you. Graduates, you've already learned what it feels like to follow your curiosity and to go from knowing nothing to knowing something. So if you're curious, ask questions and really listen to the answers. If you love teams, find yours, or why not start your own? And if you prefer to work independently, know that about yourself and embrace it. And when your values point you in a direction, trust yourself enough to stay the course. I wish you all a life full of learning. Congratulations, class of 2026.